season 2 of the Growth Design podcast.
Sorry, who is there? I guess this is a podcast hosted by Emmanuel. I guess we have someone, an intruder, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. This intruder will be taking over the entire podcast. Emmanuel is officially kicked off. Like, so you will barely be seeing him. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can actually pity him and just ask him to be a guest. We'll invite him back as
Oh,
a guest, but this has been taken over, you know?
no, no, no. This can't happen. Like, how? How? No, no, no. This is meant to be a new season. Yes, I know there are a couple of things that are coming in new, but kicking him out is not fair. That's not being fair.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we're gonna just take a pity on him because moving forwards, we could have him as a co-host, you know? Maybe that's a good idea. I'm like the main
Maybe.
host and then he'll be co-hosting with me.
Yeah, maybe that's kind. That's kind of you, though. But that's so weird. But it's going to be fun, right? It's going to save me a lot of stress of kind of talking to myself alone or trying to do all the work all by myself, even though I enjoyed it. But it's going to be fun to have a co-host, and definitely I will be in for that.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
do me the pleasures to introduce to you a new and improved growth design podcast, and we are having a co-host. I'll be the drum, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you a lady that I met over the internet. Such so good for like 2 months now, and it's been amazing. The wealth of knowledge she has about growth design, a passion for design, a hard work. That part, you can't see it, but I can say it. So we're gonna be doing the podcast together, and I know it's going to be a very great journey, and I will allow her to introduce herself to you guys and some other things. Yeah, hi Ini, it's
Well,
good to meet you.
hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Abiodun, as you have heard, and I will be PTing Emmanuel and making sure that he's not talking to himself on the podcast moving forward. Together, we are going to be hosting season 2 onwards and just exploring so many great things within group design. I met Emmanuel about a month, nearly 2 months now ago, and it was through his podcast. Actually, I found the podcast and I was like, whoa, hang on a second, there is an actual growth design podcast. I know there are now a couple more out there that I've since discovered. However, I think it's just really great to see someone who is of the same age range, so to speak, and the same career stage, just being proactive enough to talk about this budding industry. I know, like generally in America, it's a big thing. However, within Europe, it's not that. It's just starting to take hold, and finding someone who is proactively trying to become a resource point for other people who might be considering growth design or have started to work within growth design. And that's what I admired the most about this. And so when he asked me to come co-host, it was an absolute yes, because growth design is something I'm passionate about and I cannot wait to be a part of it. So yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ini, for joining. I know it promises to be an amazing journey together where we share a lot of knowledge, resources. We have amazing guests joining us on the podcast. So, Ini, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, tell us a little bit about your design story and everything. Your
All
journey
right.
into growth.
Okay, great. I like to say that I happened into design and not the other way around, which is because I am a trained lawyer by profession. I was called to the Nigerian bar many, many years ago. However, while I was a law student, I was also dabbling into fashion at the time as like a welcome distraction from the rigor of being a law student. From there, I went on to build fashion business, which grew really, really like much bigger than I planned for it to. And from then on, I'd gone to fashion school thinking that's what I really wanted to spend my time doing. And then in fashion school, I fell in love with graphics design and went on to start an agency, which was like I was trying to bridge the gap between my legal background and my design love for design. So it was brand design, web design, and legal agency. And from there on, I moved to the UK, then found myself in a senior brand design role. And gradually that role evolved beyond brand design into growth product design, which I found to be just a nice niche that sort of like brought all of my experiences and knowledge together across like marketing design with like bringing a data understanding to the forefront, and also just, empathizing in a different manner with the business and with users and just merging that together. And I think coming from like someone who's been a founder two, three times, I think it's just been fantastic to finally find a niche within design that takes all of my skills in one. So, yes, that is how I found myself in graphic design, and it's been such an amazing journey for me.
Your story to me is really, really amazing. And when I say amazing, it's the trend. Most of the time, when I get to learn more about designers, I notice that they don't really have background. Like, I can say that that might be like my bias though. Like 80% of designers that I know don't have like background in design. They
Mm.
could, yeah, maybe later on sort of lean more into a design school. But just like me also, I have a background in civil engineering, which I studied engineering in school, but I also dabbled into design while I was in school. And how you've journeyed from different aspects of design, from fashion design, that's ingenious, right? Fashion design to branding to marketing designs. And now you are now at the intersection of both marketing and product, which is growth, which is amazing. Like I say, your journey is really amazing. And I'm looking forward to the weight of knowledge you're going to bring on the podcast and looking to see how we share this knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's the same I can say of you. Just listen to your journey from civil engineering into product design and then into growth design. I think it's the same. I'm just really excited that we can be doing this and provide
Yeah.
an opportunity for people to who might be wondering what the heck is growth design, or have just started working in growth design and may not necessarily have the resources. Because yeah, I think this goes back to many of the conversations we've had so far, where it's like there feels like there is a gap in quotes in knowledge within growth design, where you have a lot of veterans who are far in front, much farther, and have this wealth of experience.
Yeah.
However, there's a new emerging school of designers, but then within that school of designers, there are people who are much farther along in their design journey, but are new to growth and may not necessarily know where to even begin, or when they have questions, it might sometimes be a struggle, which we have seen from the communities we both belong to within growth design, right? So, yeah, absolutely excited for this.
Exactly. You just outlined the essence of the podcast, which is to bridge the gap between the veterans, the experts in growth design, and the newbies who are trying to dive into growth
Yeah.
design, because it looks like an exciting place, but it's a little bit broad and
Hmm.
you have to be a little bit different from the normal product design because of the
Hmm.
mindset you have to take on and
Hmm.
a couple of things. And you just highlighted the reason for the podcast, right? And that will take us to one of the essence of this particular episode. This is the episode 1 of the season 2, and we're gonna do like a little recap of the season 1. Season 1 was really amazing. I really enjoyed meeting a lot of experts, from Kate Zuma to Chase to Jaman to Joe. I can keep counting. I think we had about 8 to 9 guests on the episode, and it was really, really amazing. When I listen to some of this episode, I'm like, oh my god, like the weight of knowledge on each of this episode is really, really good. Like, even me, I couldn't believe that this is coming out from this podcast. I really enjoy some of you guys who have been listening to some of this episode to just go back to the episode. The links are there. You could just listen to some of your favorite episode, and we're just going to do like some key takeaways of some of this episode that we recorded in season 1. I will allow Ini because it's a ladies first, so while I need to just get started, like, what's kind of your favorite episode or favorite takeaway from the
Yeah.
season 1?
Okay, I think that I am biased, proper bias, and it probably just reflects also where I am at the moment with my learnings within growth. My favorite episode right now is the one with Alicia Cressel. I hope I'm pronouncing her name very well. But it is basically the one that talks about monetization. And for me, I think that one of the biggest takeaways was something that she had mentioned and referred to from an episode with Chase, where it was talking about like growth designers are at the core, at the very baseline, product designers, right? But then there's an added layer where it's like there's like pixel perfection is not the goal when you're working within growth. It's not the initial goal. Rather, you work quickly, you start small, you're iterating very quickly, and then you go from one version to the other, one MVP to the other, and then ultimately pixel perfection becomes the goal when you have achieved the main experiments goal, when you've achieved the lessons, you've gotten the lessons that I've learned. But like, because at the end of the day, growth at its baseline is about speed and learning. And
Yeah.
for me, that is very reflective of what the growth mindset really is, because you have to be open to just like the bulk of your work that you're doing. You know how it's like when you're working as a designer, much of
Yeah.
your work in the very early days, right? As a designer, sometimes you take it to heart when you get feedback on certain
Yeah.
designs, and then as time goes on, as you continue on your journey into seniority, you begin to realize like it really is not about the design; it is about the problem that is being solved, right? And I feel like that comes into growth design ultimately, because when you cannot get too attached to any design or any potential solution, because ultimately, what is the goal that this experiment is trying to achieve? And I love this quote from like Elena Werner, where it's almost like you should aim to have 50% of your experiments fail, because it's in the failures that
Yeah.
you find the learnings, right? So for me, that was such a key takeaway from that episode. But I also love that she mentioned that the growth design podcast for her is almost like the thing she needed when she was starting out
Yeah.
within growth design, which ultimately speaks to everything we're trying to achieve with like season 2 and beyond, right? And then finally, as I was saying, monetization within growth design, super biased right now, because that's much of where I'm spending my time learning and iterating and thinking at the moment. But like, I love,
I
go
I
ahead.
think I know why you like it. It's because of the money.
Hey, I'm Nigerian from what, like, just like you, I'm Nigerian.
No,
Okay.
I don't like monetization. I prefer engagement and retention more.
Okay, no, I'm talking about the fact that I'm Nigerian. I like money. That's what I mean.
Okay, I agree. I agree. I agree. Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then I think that's why I said at the moment, though,
Yeah.
monetization right now, because just a lot of the thinking and a lot of learning and questioning I'm doing at the moment just centers around monetization at the moment. I do agree. I feel like engagement and retention has its own place, and it's so fun to delve
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, to just sum this up, I think for me, when you think about growth design and the fact that you get to work across various levels of the journey, it's about speed, it's about iteration, it's about learning across different platforms. But at the same time, it's about thinking about what is broken, identifying potential breaks within the journeys. But then sometimes if you can get ahead of these breaks and identify what could break before they even break, like, so it's almost like it's prescriptive sometimes, at the same time it's proactive. And I really do enjoy that, about being able to take a holistic view at different journeys and then narrow down and go in depth,
So specifics. Yeah.
regardless, depending on the scenario. So yeah, that
Yeah.
that would be my own key takeaway from season 1.
Personally, when I listen to all this episode again, I tell myself like this is really, really some word of knowledge. Like
Yeah,
I would allow few people to dive into my like my favorite episode. I don't know if I have a favorite though, but I think
I
the
feel
one I
like you
love
can't be,
most.
you are not allowed to, because you did all those interviews.
Yeah, yeah. I feel I like Chase one, the Chase
Yeah.
Chase episode more, which is about how to grow your career, sort of thing. Yeah,
Okay.
but the Chase one is kind of the one that I really love most, and one of the things that I liked most about that episode was how Chase sort of highlighted the difference between a core product designer and a growth designer. And just like what you said right now, one of the things that Chase mentioned was that Chase talked about the fact that a core product designer sort of focuses on the core problems and kind of wants solutions to probably maybe like an experience or like a problem, right? But as a growth designer, you are focusing on uncovering opportunities to turn it into outcome,
Yeah.
which is kind of boom, just
Spot
blow
on.
my mind like, oh my
Spot on.
god, that's spot on. Yeah, exactly. And he also went and talked about a few things like product designers, utilizes the heuristics principles for designs, why growth designers kind of leverage more on the behavioral psychologists like cognitive beliefs and everything, that not sort of the bad side of those things, right?
Yeah.
But we leverage on some of those behavioral psychologists to kind of design and everything. And another bomb that Chase dropped that was like boom was like product designers ship to release, right? While growth designers we ship to learn, which is where the mindset of the growth designer comes in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's one of the things you talked about at the early stage of your design. When you design something and you're like, oh, this cannot be shipped, this cannot be shipped, you start feeling bad, like, okay, oh, bro, what am I even doing? Like, this is not passing, this is failing, But that is the joy.
Yeah.
Well, I say the joy, but that is the core of a growth designer, because you want to know when you design, you are designing to learn.
Exactly.
You are designing to explore those opportunities to see the best outcome you could get from it, which is essential. And another thing he talked about was the velocity over predictability. Why for a product designer now, it's the other way around, which is predictability over velocity. That's the outcome is always known. Like, you want to deliver a feature, you want to maybe design like a feature of like a form for a user to fill a form, to get started from filling a form and to submitting it. That's like what you define that. But for a growth designer, you don't know what the outcome is going to look like. So what you are focusing on is how fast can I get this out so that I can learn from it. So that's where he really analyzed the differences in those two professions, or those two
sort of like domains of
I would say brother and sister, one is a brother, one is sister. Like, they're both of the same parents. They're both design professions, So I think I really enjoyed that. And let me dive a little bit again. There was other part I also like. There was this episode with Jermaine. It was about monetization. That's game design and monetization. And
gamification, which I love.
Yeah. I really love that aspect. There was an aspect of that podcast where Jermaine mentioned about the perceived value. He talked about how the perceived value of your product should be greater than the actual value.
Yes.
So he talked about how do you even improve the perceived value of your product. Talked about the perceived value is not like, oh, if you're selling this product or you sell this subscription for like £15 or let's say $15, right? The perceived value is not necessarily the £15 or £10. The perceived value is the emotions that a user attached to that product or to that services, that they can say, okay, I'm going to bring out the assigned value to it. And it really dived deep into how you can improve it and everything. And that episode, it's really, really mind-blowing. Like,
it's that thing where which is why I really appreciate how great design, and there's just like so many aspects to it, from the psychology of it to the marketing thinking, because all buying is emotional. That's the baseline. Like, every purchase is, I don't care how logical you are as a person, every purchase you make is based on an emotional state. Like, there is a certain there's something that drives your decision making. And that's the thing, like, that perception of value, you can easily think about it. Like, if you're trying to pay for, let's say, a mattress, for example, you go into the store, obviously you're looking at the price, and it's not necessarily the price. You know how mattress stores, like, it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, these are the low cost mattresses here, these are the high cost. It's not separated that way. You just have like an array that is just mind-blowing, like so many options. And then the point is, for you then begin to test by feel, by sitting on it, by laying on it. Those emotions and your perception of the value begins to form. At that point in time, it is not about, oh, I'm buying a mattress so it can look good in my bedroom. The point of a mattress is for you to sleep on, right? And you're testing the sturdiness. Are you someone who likes a very hard mattress? Are you someone who likes soft, pillowy mattresses? There's so many things that come into it. But then how can you improve that perception of value across your products? Because at the end of the day,
designer,
it's the sleep people are paying for. They want to get a good night's rest, not necessarily, oh, this is the product, a mattress. It costs £15. You're buying that. So I definitely agree. I think that's also why I'm loving monetization at the moment, because it's just when you begin to think.
I think
go ahead.
There was also one part of the podcast that he mentioned that it was so gloomy to me, because I love games, right? I play FIFA a
We
lot.
all know that.
Yeah, so you talked about aspect of how you could also bring the psychology, which you talked about this into the product.
Yeah.
You talked about there's this way you could lower the perceived value of a product or of a tool, right, that you want to sell. You talked about using emotions, using visual clues, using mystery box in FIFA right now. Let me just bring an illustration, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I think I am addicted to that game is because of the packs. So there's something we call the free packs. Like when you play game, you get to earn some packs.
Okay.
And now I don't know what is in those packs. There are bunch of players. There could be other things that you use that could enhance your ability as a gamer. That could give you more power over your opponent. So when you play these games, you get free packs. Now, one of the things that allow me to keep coming is the fact that I don't know what is in those packs.
You're
So
curious.
the mystery, yes. So I think they really played on that part of our psychology to get us keep coming.
Yeah.
So I keep coming. I want to play more so that I can get more packs because I feel maybe tomorrow I could get an Mbappe
Yeah.
or tomorrow I could get like Alad. Good players that could actually increase my gameplay.
Yeah.
So these are psychologies that we could
Yeah.
also imbibe into our products. There are so many ways that we could bring some of this behavioral psychology into the product that could actually get our products to more users, convert them, and so many other things. So
Yeah.
I would employ anybody to just go back to some of this episode and listen to it. They
Absolutely.
are so educative and everything, and they are like the basis, because season 1 focused more on the defining what is growth, how to become a growth designer, and how do you grow as a growth designer. I think that's like much of it. However, I don't know if you still have any other points about that,
No,
about the recap.
it's just what you just finished talking about, where, there's so many versions, which is why, like you said, season 1 was all about laying that foundation. For season 2, we're going to be having sessions like conversation series between Emmanuel and myself, where we delve into some of
Yeah.
these things. Like we've already had a conversation about doing something around cognitive bias and how that is something like psychological tools that you can use to drive conversion rates optimization, right? And as you were speaking, that just came to my mind about something that Apple does a lot that people are not necessarily conscious of, but it actually drives the buying decision. Where it's like if you go on the page across a series of iPads, you will find 5 different iPads on one page,
Yeah.
where it's like a long drop down of the different features of these iPads. But then the way it has been framed, this one is called the frame, like a framing method. Basically, the way the information has been framed, all of that information is guiding you towards the product that is in the center or right before the center. And it's just all that information is just framed in a way where it drives your decision to, for example, pick an iPad Air. And you pick this iPad Air, you're starting at the baseline because it's such a cheap option and alternative, right? But then as you begin to go through, there are series of upsells. Whereas when you're done with that journey, you've been upsold to a point that you've actually spent something that is close enough to the actual cost of the first iPad on the outside of it. And this is like framing techniques that are psychological, like they're very intentional. And this is how monetization comes into place, right? Where it's just how do you use these psychological tools? How do you prep the mind of a buyer, of a customer? By the time they're done going through the process, not only do they feel empowered within the decisions they've made, all you've done
Yeah.
is provide visual cues, provide nudges in the right direction, and then it's a win-win for everybody. But
Yeah.
that said, yes, we would also potentially talk about the dark side of these things, where there are things like Amazon's example, where I will find it when we come to the episode and talk about it in depth. But there are so many things where you find just like dark UI patterns that just are not necessarily in the best interest of. Oh yeah, one is where when you open your Amazon whatnot, ever since they introduced the subscription plan, if you're not careful, I remember opening it up the first few times and nearly clicking buy now before I realized it, like the subscription was automatically pre-selected. And I have to be conscious of that every time I'm buying something. Like, I just want one item. I'm not trying to subscribe to a every 2 weeks or every 3 months delivery of a hand cream or something like that. Like we will talk about all of these things. But yeah, it's definitely recommended before you delve into season two with us, you should take some time and go through season one. Emmanuel's done such an amazing job talking to all these veterans and just like incredible conversations all around.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think we're also going to be talking to more veterans and experts where we dive deep into growth conversations. One of the guests I'm looking forward to is I don't know yet, but the topic, let me say, the topic I'm looking forward to is talking more about growth loops. This is like at the center of every growth mechanics in every company. Like that's
Yeah.
one of the great mechanisms of some of these great PLG companies that are really, really cashing out. Let me use the Nigerian words. They are cashing out big time. So we're going to be diving deep into some of these conversations with experts. And at the same time, like what Ini said, we're going to be going into inside stories with designers, like two of us talking about stuff, and also early and mid senior designers. We're going to be having inside conversations into their challenges, how they go into design, how they've been working, and how they're getting result. And season
Yeah.
two is really, really, really what you don't want to miss. And
Yeah.
so much effort is going to be put into this, and I definitely know you are guys going to enjoy it. And new stuffs are also coming to the podcast. We are getting better every day. Like what Ini said initially in the intro, this is a new and improved growth design podcast. We are having a website. This website, apart from the website, something also new is coming. Ini has just rebranded us. Ini brought awareness of branding and marketing design and gave growth design a new face. So if you got to see the new colors, the new identity, it's blew my mind off when I saw the way she went through the process of exploring, ideating those person and getting to the final identity and the choice of colors and everything. They were intentional, and I definitely know that you guys are gonna like it. You're gonna want to associate with this brand because it's new and really improved.
Yeah.
So
And
I will yeah, go ahead, Ini.
yeah, no, I was just saying, like, and if they don't like it, we need to have a conversation. Pull up. Let's chat.
Yeah, definitely. We and another thing that we'll also be doing more, which is going to be listening more to you guys. Like, you want to get your feedback, you want to know where we could improve in terms of maybe expert that you want to listen to, kind of topics you inch into ear, to air. See here or here.
Look, see, embrace your Yoruba, what they call
Yeah.
it, heritage. Okay, the H
Yeah.
is gonna come out sometimes, and look, it's absolutely okay. I think it's that thing where when we're growing up, you try so hard to
Yeah.
stay away from it, like you're so intentional. Look, English, yes, is our official language, but it's not my native tongue, and so sometimes the H
Yeah,
is
I
gonna come out,
understand.
and that is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and also more channels to reach out to you guys. The social media, we're gonna be using the social media, giving out short clips, codes, a lot of things just to keep educating, keep giving out resources out there. And also we're gonna be working on some resources later on in the year, talking about resources, looking like stuff like newsletter, news like growth tips. There are a lot of things we have in the box. Let's just keep it mystery so that you are looking forward to some of those things. So Ini, so what are you looking forward to in this season? Like, what
Oh
are the
my
things that you're looking forward to?
Okay, so because this is my first podcast experience, I'm definitely looking forward to one, deep diving with guests. I love doing research generally. So
Yeah.
it is just something that I know before we talk to a guest, we're going to do a ton of research into understanding their work, their body of work, and their perspectives and things like that. But also, I'm curious to learn about like experiments that people have gotten up to in the past or
Yeah.
are thinking about if they're willing to share.
Their
I
learnings.
Exactly. I want to talk to, I'm going to call it the new school of designers. So we've got the veterans, like, which was the heavy focus last season. In this
Yeah.
season, we're going to have a mix of the two. But I'm curious to see how the new school of designers, like you and I, are thinking about like the different approach to growth. And I think,
Yeah.
like, because, like we're saying, there's so much expert content out there, I want to begin to see more and more designers contributing, like more and more new school designers in growth, new school in growth for context, contributing in so publicly and just starting to share the things that they're learning, because I know how it can feel very overwhelming when you're seeing people like Elena Verna share their knowledge, okay, Tuma, people who have worked at Miro and they have all these big big names, which is incredible because you have to consistently learn from those type of content. But
Yeah.
ultimately, your experience is just as unique and just as important. And I'm looking forward to just delving into those conversations. What kind of experiments did you create? What were your failures? I really want to delve into that failure aspect, and just find out where did you fantastically fail.
Yeah,
And
I think, when you listen to someone like Chitina, right? She's one of the reasons why I'm in growth design, by the way,
yeah, I
which I
mean,
think for so many people too.
that's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like everybody can relate to Chitana Diora at this point. Like, seriously,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
found
So
out
when
through my manager, and it's been nonstop. Like, yeah, her and Molly were the two big influences for me. So yeah, go ahead.
amazing. So I was gonna say, when you want to listen to this kind of people, when they tell you that they have failed before, you're like, sorry, hold on. You failed with your wealth of knowledge and everything, So these stories, these learnings are stuff that kind of will make some of us that are growing the new, what do you call us?
New
You said the
school.
new school.
Well, the new
Yeah,
school. Yeah.
the new school designers, coming brought into growth, and it's gonna help us shape our mindset, shape our decision making, so that we learn from our veterans out there. And this season is going to be exciting, like this kind of conversations also, where we get to just discuss about topics, about controversies in growth itself. Between
Mhm.
me and Ini are also things that we're going to be enjoying in this season.
Yeah.
This happens to be fun, and I'm really,
So
really
excited.
looking forward to it.
I know. It's almost like Emmanuel's dreams of growth design are finally coming through because, like, yeah, things that he could not talk about by himself, just sitting alone.
Yeah, exactly. I really wanted to have conversations last time, but only me just sitting and just talking to my mic feels weird. But now I have like an amazing woman, is it woman or lady? Yeah, an amazing lady with
Both
me.
words. Both
Yeah,
words.
that we're gonna be talking together, co-hosting this episode, and it promises to be fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait for everyone to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening to this season one recap and the intro to the season two.
Yep.
And the next episode probably is going to be me and Ini talking about a very, very controversial topic, very, very dicey one in terms of, the psychology thing and cognitive thing. We're going to be talking about an exciting topic in growth design, and that's going to be the next episode. And I know it promises to be fun. Thank you once again for listening. I will say
All
my
right.
byes, and I also allow Init to say her byes. Bye.
Yeah. All right. Yes, absolutely. Look forward to the next conversation and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.